Today we're at the end of the Bakerloo line. No, not this end, the other end. The line gets its rather silly name as it's a portmanteau of its original name, the Baker Street and Waterloo Railway. It's coloured brown on the tube map and currently serves 25 stations, 15 of which are underground. We're travelling along the map to the other terminus of the line, Elephant and Castle. But it's not supposed to be the terminus by now. The proposals to extend the line to South East London are seemingly endless and never quite happen. Before we get going on the walk we're about to do today, the area was quite attractive and many photos were taken. And we'll take a look at some here. We'll start off in the bowels of the Bakerloo line station at Elephant and Castle. The Northern line station was opened here as early as 1890 by the City and South London Railway, but this is not it. This is the Bakerloo line station, which opened 16 years later. A girl born at the station in 1924 was the first baby to be born on the underground network. And it's still a station which has lifts to take us to the surface. As I was doing this filming, there was a lot of construction about to happen, so since you're beaming in from the future, you get to see what it was like all those years ago maybe. Only a tiny part of this area was known as Elephant and Castle, after the local pub. For centuries it was called Newington, not Elephant and Castle. It was the coming of the tube stations which cemented the name Elephant and Castle as a name for the area. Indeed, we have evidence of its previous Newington name in the name of this road, delightfully named Newington Butts. And it was by no means the only Elephant and Castle pub in London at all. They were scattered around the capital, and here's one in Vauxhall, which later became a Starbucks. And if you're a late night reveller in Vauxhall and you happen to look up, you'll see there are lots of elephants and castles on the roof, which you might think is some kind of drug-fueled hallucination. No, it's because of the former pub that was here. The history of this area is somewhat complicated. It's a bit of an urban wasteland right now. This was the churchyard of a church called St Mary's Church, which didn't last the course. It was replaced in the 19th century by St Gabriel's Church, and this walkway is formerly called Gabriel's Walk in honour of the previous church that stood here, and now it's just a big shopping centre thing on the right in the modern times. There used to be a notable place for homeless people to live on where this huge tower block called 360 is now. I'm just showing the 1799 Horwood map of the area on top of the walking video, and this northern extension of Churchyard Row was already here on the map as a rural pathway between market gardens. And the section of Brook Drive ahead in the video was then called Garden Place. Now, living in Garden Place would have been truly delightful in those days, with a view of St Mary's Clock Tower across the churchyard. Interestingly, also on this 1799 map, Hale Street, Elliott's Row and Oswin Street, which all now lead off Brook Drive, up ahead at the T-junction, were already in place at the beginning of the 19th century. We'll turn left into Brook Drive, and as sometimes happens in London, the clue is in the name. If we go back to the 1750s John Rock map, Brook Drive isn't here yet, but its future route follows the course of the River Neckinger. Now, the River Neckinger rose in the seasonally wet and occasionally flooded area of St George's Fields, which is now Geraldine Mary Harmsworth Park, where the Imperial War Museum is. And since the Neckinger was a river, it was natural for it to form the boundary between parishes. And indeed, Brook Drive still follows along the boundary between the London boroughs of Lambeth and Southwark. On the corner of Dante Road on the left, up ahead here, there used to be a corner shop. And on the corner of Hale Street on the right up ahead, there also used to be a corner shop. This will shortly become relevant. But first, on the left corner, Dante Road, we can see the Osborne Water Tower. This tower was built in 1867 and once supplied water to the Lambeth Workhouse. The Lambeth Workhouse used to house over 800 destitute families, and a 7-year-old Charlie Chaplin lived there with his mother. In 2012 it was converted into a home and featured on the TV programme Grand Designs. On the corner of Brook Drive and Hale Street, Dexys Midnight Runners filmed their Come On Eileen video in 1982. The shops on the corners of Hale Street and Dante Road, as featured in the video, have both disappeared since. The Dante Road corner shop was redeveloped, and the main shop in the video, Vi's Stores, has been converted into a house. I have to apologise here for the cheesy music. No matter how I edited this video, I received a copyright strike for Come On Eileen, until I completely replaced the music with a really horrible MIDI file.
com esse aparelho, ele consegue
these days you'd be conspicuous with equipment in the street, but well, now everyone is actually speaking to a phone, and I think you run very little risk of being jumped on for holding something weird, because everyone is holding something weird. Right, now I'm hoping this is called Austral Street. Yes, it is. Now I might be wrong, but I think this was called South Street, one of those London renamings, because there's so many identical street names. And I think this was North Street, South Street, East Street, West Street, off the square we're just about to discover along here. Well, there were many North Streets, South Streets, East Streets and West Streets. Not so many West Squares that they needed to rename this one. So this is a great sort of, I assume it's Georgian era. It's just lovely buildings around. And once this car flies by, I'm going to research who that blue plaque is. Because I can spy a blue plaque. And see if I know who the hell they are, because normally I don't. And indeed, I don't know who J.A.R. Newlands was before I saw the plaque. Discoverer of the periodic law for chemical elements. I guess that's important. I'm raised here. So there's one of those new muses that aren't muses because they're not a muse, just a name now. Another thing about perceived danger in London is that when I was a kid in the 70s, everything seemed so dangerous. And I know things are still dangerous in some places, but and I'm not saying I approve of gentrification, because it's a mixed blessing, but there's so many middle class people everywhere now that very few places, or fewer places, are completely and utterly rough. Okay, at random going around this corner because I want to actually somehow get into the back of that. When I say the back of that, I mean the garden that leads to the back of that. I'm hoping that down here there's a way in without heading for the main road and having boring things, but this railing suggests that they're stopping cyclists whizzing through, so it also suggests there's a way in, and there is. This is the garden at the back of the Imperial War Museum. And again, I'm winging this. I seem to remember that was Bedlam, the original asylum that gave its name to, gave the world the word Bedlam. there you go. Nothing I like more than a big gun. Well, actually, plenty of things more I like. This has been a quite a green way to get from the Elephant to Lambeth North. Did a bit of back street work. I'll have a quick look at World Garden, but I hope we can get out the side of the park here. Otherwise it's a long way round. Wonder what the World Garden is. Walled Garden? Yep. World Garden? Nope. And again, that looks hopeful that there's a geezer just walked in. So it means he's walked in from somewhere. That means there's a gap. And this is the World Garden. I think I should take the opportunity since I've arrived at a traffic junction to get across the road. Maybe with a green pedestrian light. There's too many distractions for me with cameras and everything. Red. Red. Find that pub in there. 3 stacks.
I think you can go.
Lambeth North Station is ahead at the junction here, and at first this was called Kennington Road Station, It's a bit of a weird choice of name, really. We're walking up Kennington Road here, but the station is not on this road at all. It's on Westminster Bridge Road. Right here on Kennington Road, a large bomb fell during the war, and the station was being used as a shelter. And Lambeth North was badly damaged, but luckily nobody was killed. So it's quite a wonderful classic Leslie green style, that deep maroon red. And although there's no interchange, it's only on the Bakerloo line. The lines run directly above the Northern line here, but there's no station on the Northern line. Behind those blue doors was once the London Transport Training Centre.